Hey everyone, and welcome back to Joey's Retro Newscast. This is going to be a bit of a light week. There wasn't a lot of news this week, but there are a few things, so don't worry. We have a bit of more newscast questions this week, but let's get into the news that we do have, and then we'll talk about the newscast questions after. Now, I'm sure that most of you are aware of CHD files and how much they save space-wise compared to ISO. And then there's RVZ compared to ISO as well for GameCube, and so on and so on. Basically compressed file formats. Well, 3DS is getting its own compressed format for games with the Z moniker. So it'll be ZCIA, ZCCI, Z3DS, and ZCXI. Now, given that Azahar is the only 3DS emulator that is worth using at the moment, and they are the leaders here as far as 3DS emulation goes, it is probably safe to convert your entire library over to this new format, but I'm going to wait a little bit longer. You do need the desktop version to do this. Now, they did provide some space-saving numbers, and it looks like it's going to vary, but maybe it's an average about 30% or so. And honestly, that's pretty big. If you have a library of 100 gigabytes of 3DS games, that means you can instantly save 30 gigabytes of it. That's a big savings, I think. I will probably do this at some point, maybe in the next week or so we'll see. But it's awesome that we are still getting these kinds of advancements in 3DS emulation. That was it for software news. Like I said, it was a very, very light week this week. Question of the week. And this week's question of the week actually comes from a Reddit post that I saw. And I am sorry if this is your post, but it did make me laugh and it spawned this week's question. Now, the user says that people are sleeping on the RG34XXSP, and the reason being is that if you set RetroArch to 3:2 as the aspect ratio for all systems and stretch every other console besides GBA, then you can't even tell that it's stretched. And it is all good, bro. Okay, before I go on any sort of rant about stretching and not native aspect ratios, which I absolutely could never, I want to ask you guys, do you stretch? I just want to know who I should be banning from my channel. And I'm kidding. I'm actually curious to know how many of you actually do stretch. Would you do something like this, where you set every single system to 3:2 to match the screen because it's a 3:2 screen? Do you do it with 4:3? Do you set everything to 4:3 and stretch it all? I am just curious. Let me know in the comments what you do. Now, my opinion, in case you can't tell, is that the makers of these games are rolling in their graves, assuming that, why am I assuming they're dead? Most of them are probably still alive. But either way, you are absolute heathens for stretching. That's me judging you for that. But you can still do it. Who cares what I think? I just want to know. Let me know in the comments. I want to know how many of you are stretching and how many of you think it's like the worst affront to God in the world, like I do. Jumping over into device news now. And MagicX has a new device coming called the Retro 45. This is going to be a Sega Saturn, Nintendo 64, Dreamcast, Mega Drive, whatever you want to call it, device. It has 6 buttons. We are getting there with the 6-button layout. But unlike the Ambernick leaves one thing out to make the thing not perfect RG Arc, this one actually has a stick and D-pad. So that's awesome. Now, apparently it's going to be using a 4.5-inch screen. That's really good. Hall triggers, and that's really all we know at this point. The processor here is what's actually going to matter, especially if you plan on playing Sega Saturn. Maybe probably could have left that out of the marketing because I think that's going to be the killer in this one. But for the rest of the systems, they should be easily playable with a good processor. And by good, I mean do not use the A133P again. Please do not use that for this. This is not the chip for that. Now, as if the GPD Win 5 news couldn't get any more bizarre, they are using a proprietary SSD card slot. Yeah, I said SSD, not SD. It is a China-only format, and the SSD is actually not really available anywhere. But that's the slot that you are getting on the new GPD Win 5. Now, the weird thing about this is the spec sheet does say there is an SD card slot. So this might be in addition to, instead of in replacement of, that slot, but I could not find confirmation. I'm going to be totally honest here. The more I see about the GPD Win 5, as somebody who has liked GPD products, the more I'm very confused as to what they are doing. This is another weekly reminder that Retroid Pocket Flip 2 hinges are cracking. If this happens to you, you should definitely get in contact with Retroid. They will sort you out, all that sort of thing. And you may want to check your device ahead of time just to see if you're one of the ones affected. And just look for a crack. Look for that. And if you have one, contact Retroid. Now, I got some unsavory comments accusing me of being way too nice to Retroid about this situation, which tells me that people did not watch my video on the Retroid Pocket Mini debacle, and they haven't seen my other videos, and I guess maybe this is the first video they've seen, which, fine. That I can understand that if it's the very first video that you've ever seen from me, and you're like, he's being way too nice to Retroid. So I will say it again, so it is firmly in stone here. I firmly believe that Retroid's reaction to this news, offering prepaid labels for returns, offering other models that you can exchange to, and all of that is taking care of everybody that's affected. I personally can't think of another way that they could have handled this any better. You could argue that they could have done a better job on the making of the device, which, some behind the scenes knowledge here, they have done a lot on the hinge. That I can confirm. This wasn't a thing that they just put together and they're like, oh, let's just use the same one from the first model. It's not what happened here. They remembered what happened with that first model. They did a lot more testing on the hinge. And whatever is happening here is unfortunate because despite all of their effort that they did put in, it's still happening. And we can make all kinds of jokes, and I've made the jokes myself of how can we still not figure out a hinge in 2025? That's all fine. But their actual response to these issues is 10 out of 10, in my opinion. They are offering prepaid labels. They are offering exchanges to other models. You have that choice. They're offering everything that you would want from a company. The sign of a good company, and we've made fun of Retroid for how they handled the Retroid Pocket Mini debacle in the past and all of that sort of thing. This time they nailed it because you want the company to be behind you when something goes wrong. Everything's all good when companies don't make mistakes. The moment they make a mistake, you want to see them take responsibility for it. You want to see them make you good, make you whole. And I think in this scenario, in my opinion, they did. And as their harshest critic, I think, in this space, I think that's something coming from me. I think this situation, more than others, is a bit of a different one because you couldn't avoid this one. When we reviewed these devices, at least myself, I made specifically sure to mention that I can't tell you the reliability of the hinge over time, and nobody can. Anybody that tells you that is a liar. So we don't know that. And the best advice was wait a little bit, see when users get it, and see if anything happens. The problem is it's been 5 months, so how long can you realistically wait to see if there's any issues? It is weird that these issues are popping up at 5 months, but a normal user couldn't avoid this. Honestly, you might give it maybe 2 months, 3 months. And we didn't have any issues at that point. And then you jump right in. You'd be like, okay, great. The Flip 2 is awesome. Let's grab one. 5 months, we're pushing it now. So that is, I guess, the hard part in this one is that you could do everything right and still get burned. Now, this is my personal opinion here, but the Flip 1 having these problems, the Flip 2 having these problems, probably means that me as a regular consumer would probably never buy another clamshell from Retroid at this point. I don't know how you guys feel about this, if you would still do it, but it's twice, like burn me once, burn me twice. You know what I mean? And I don't know how much fault to attribute to Retroid here because I feel like they did do the right things with testing and all that on the hinge, but something obviously still went wrong. And as a consumer, I don't want to deal with that again for a third time. So if there is ever a Flip 3, man, that's a tough one to do at this point. As much as, I mean, you guys know my love of the Flip 1. I have it right here. It's the Flip 1. If they were to do a Flip 3 with what I wanted of the Flip 1 in upgrades, that'd be a tough one for me to even do at this point to think about because of all these issues. Anyways, long story short, I think Retroid's doing the right thing. I think it's a bad situation. I think if you are somebody who's affected, there's probably no chance, if it was me, that I would get another Flip 2 at this point. Because once the warranty runs out, and if it happens again, you're stuck with a paperweight at that point. So maybe go to the Mini, maybe go to the 5 that don't have these issues, and just bite the bullet there. Maybe that's the option, is just ask for one of those two models instead of another Flip 2. But I mean, that's what I would do. I don't know what you would do, but I am curious. Let me know in the comments if you're affected. What route did you choose? Did you choose another Flip 2, or did you choose to grab a different model? We have gotten more news on the upcoming XURetro V32 device. The speaker is apparently mono, not stereo. It is $48 for the no internal SD card option, $53 for the 64 gigabyte option, $58 for the 128 gigabyte option. They are using generic SD cards, so you don't want to buy any of those options besides the $48 one if you're interested. Now, they are saying that there's going to be 600 units on August 10th for, I guess, pre-order, and then they are going to be shipping on August 25th. Now, I don't know if any of these were sent for review. I have not heard anything on my end. They have not said anything to me. But with the date of August 10th, it's too soon at this point. So reviews, if they are going to come up, or if they are sending anything out, it won't arrive in time. If I was the only one who didn't get one, then maybe they will. I don't know. I have no idea what's happening. But August 10th being the date, if we don't see any reviews, then maybe exercise some caution here with a brand that's had a bit of a shaky history of devices. The XU10 and then the XU Mini M. XU Mini M was pretty bad, but XU10 was also not that great. So maybe exercise some caution here. Wait till people get it in their hands. Wait till reviewers get it in their hands, and then see what to do. That's my opinion on this, but do whatever you want. It's your money. Now, on the opposite end, we finally have some kind of good news on the Mangmi Air X. While mine is still in transit, Gamma of Gamma OS fame has already unlocked the bootloader and has already said that he's done enough that he could port Gamma OS Next to this upcoming handheld. So it seems that by the time that regular people get this, or even just myself in a few days, it will have Gamma on it right away, which should fix any weird stock Android OS bugs. Gamma is the unsung hero of this hobby for Android devices, so if he's helped you, maybe consider throwing him a few bucks through Patreon, because he deserves it. Okay, so friendly reminder, our game of the month for this month is Mario & Luigi Superstar Saga, and our ROM hack of the month is Pokemon Prism. Our game of the season is Suikoden 2. If you want to play some games, come join the Discord. That's all we're doing, playing games. Now, I did finish Superstar Saga. Took me 11-ish hours, I believe, using fast forward, all that sort of thing. And I got through it pretty quickly. And at the risk of upsetting a lot of people, on paper, this game should be exactly a Joey game in every way, shape, or form. It is turn-based, it is Mario, it is GBA, it is great music, great art style, all of it. But holy moly, could I not wait to finish this game and never touch it again. I am very confused. I have the cart for this on the original Game Boy Advance. I would have played it there. This game, to me, was so frustrating, and I can't explain it. So, I mean, the end boss, I think we all know, sucks. It's super frustrating, that end boss. But going through the world, and my issue with this is, you can't walk 2 feet without being hit by something and dragged into a battle that takes way too long. And then when you have to do puzzles, which some of the puzzles are not that fun, you go and do these puzzles and you fight all the guys on the way, and you have to go back because it wants you to backtrack to do the puzzle. And then you have to fight the guys again because you can't get around them. And you're just like, oh, Dios mío. Like, I can't do this anymore. I struggled with this game, put it that way. Not in the difficulty sense, but I struggled with the time wasting sense. I'm just like, I just want to finish it. But also the pacing is really off. Like you start off strong and you're doing boss battle after boss battle after boss battle. And then you end up doing nothing for a few hours of like, you're just traversing and nothing's happening. And then the end hits and it's like, okay, boss battle, boss battle, boss battle. And you're just going hard. But there's a whole middle part of that game where it's like, just nothing. The pacing is really weird in it. I don't know. I don't want to upset anybody who likes this game. That's not my intention. I finished it. We're good here. It just, I thought I would like it more. That's all. I thought I would like it more. I don't remember a lot of it from my childhood because obviously I would have played it if I had the cart. But yeah, no, I thought I would like it more. All right, so ending off today with the Newscast Q&A. As always, send in your questions through newscast@joeysretrohandhelds.com, or there's a channel in the Discord. You can use that to send them in. First question comes in from Malson. What is your favorite thing about your least favorite handheld? What is my least favorite handheld? Okay, so let's do this. R36S, RG Slide, Game Force Ace. One of those three. I'm probably forgetting something. R36S, I mean, it's $20. I guess that is the favorite thing about it. But you get what you pay for. So, yeah. RG Slide, the screen. That's it. The screen. Screen is nice. The rest of the handheld you could chuck in the garbage. Game Force Ace, I don't remember. Probably the screen again. I think if I'm remembering correctly, I think the screen was good. But I choose to block these handhelds out after when they're bad. And I'm like, yeah, I don't want to remember you. But yeah, I think that's it. Let's go with those three answers. Next question comes in from YallSpark. You are CEO of Nintendo, and you get to make one spin-off game for any Nintendo IP, alive or dead. What franchise do you pick, and what kind of game would you want? It's a great question. Honestly, this is a great question. And is Earthbound a Nintendo IP? Hold on. I need to check this because, and you might be like, how do you not know this? I am not an Earthbound guy. And I'll explain that in a second, but give me a second to see. Is it? Yeah, I think it's an Earthbound. Okay, let's go with Earthbound. So I'm not a fan of Earthbound. I have tried so many times to get into that game, but it doesn't click with me. So I can respect it from afar. I can respect everybody liking that from afar, but it's not my thing. However, Ness is one of my favorite characters in video games. In Super Smash Brothers, that was my character always. I always use Ness, and I love Ness from that perspective. It's one of those things where it's like Sonic, where you take Sonic out of his games and he suddenly becomes good, like Sonic in movies and Sonic in other games. But in their own games, I'm just like, I'm good. I don't need Sonic. I've now just dissed Sonic and Earthbound fans, and they're going to be unhappy. Anyways, Ness, I would make a game, and I don't even think that's not his real name, right? I don't know what it is. Is actually Ness? Whatever. Ness and Lucas, I would make a turn-based, you know what? Mario and Luigi Superstar Saga with Ness and Lucas. You get to use their powers. You can do more platforming with all of the crazy telekinetic stuff that they do. And it's a whole turn-based world. You Expedition 33 with Ness and Lucas. Let's do that. That is my spin-off game. We make Earthbound into it is kind of a turn-based game in the original one, but you know what I mean. More of a platforming adventure. I don't even know what I'm talking about anymore. Superstar Saga with Ness and Lucas. Let's go with that. This next question comes in from Matt Davis. We know that you are a long-suffering but resilient Maple Leafs fan. How do you feel about the other Toronto pro teams? Do you like the Jays, the Raptors, and the Argonauts, and do they do anything for you? I like the Leafs, and I like hockey. I only watch the Leafs for hockey. I don't watch anything else. The rest of the sports, no. I grew up playing soccer, and got pretty close for pro soccer, but never made it. But I never watched soccer. It was one of those things where amateur soccer is fun to watch. Pro soccer is like, I want to kill myself. I don't want to watch this. It is awful. The way that they play the game is awful. Now, I don't watch basketball, but I have a friend of mine that is super into basketball. And every time I talk to him about it, he talks about how bad NBA is at just, I guess, the game and all of that, how it's not like basketball anymore. It's so I don't know what the word is, but yeah, anyways. So basketball, no. Baseball's boring. I'm not into that. And football, I have no interest in it. So to answer your question, I don't have an interest in those teams, mostly because I don't have an interest in those sports. I have an interest in hockey because I used to play hockey and I like hockey and I like the Leafs. And that's kind of it. Like it's a weird scenario with me. Like I like the team and the sport, but the other sports, yeah, I couldn't care less. Next question comes in from Sean P1. How many more guide videos do you have in the works and what for? I've used so many and they're super helpful. So thank you. I am at my limit at the moment. I think there is one more that I have in the works that I am working on. And then there's a few that you guys haven't seen yet that are finished and they will be released in the next week or so. But I've hit the limit of guides. I've done every emulator that I can think of. I plan on doing probably an Android emulation guide, a total one, just one video of like quickest way to set up a handheld. And then you have links to all of my guides that are more dedicated. So you could be like, hey, I want to do HD texture packs. Okay, then just go to that guide instead and use that. So that is where I am at right now. I think that makes more sense than a dedicated guide, just an hour-long guide. But I probably will do one because it seems like a lot of people like that aspect. My videos do well when I do those types of guides. I might wait on a new handheld to come out before I do that. But yeah, no, guides I will always be doing. I just don't know what's next. I've been trying to brainstorm what I want to do next as a series. And I like doing those more than reviews. I don't care much about reviews, but guides and helping people, that's where I want to do. That's my plan. So the answer is yes. You will always see guides from me and probably more guides than reviews because that's what I like doing. Last question of the day, and this comes in from Chihuahua. Are you hopeful that Retroid will fix the hinge issue on the Flip 2? I say this as someone hoping to ask the better half for one at Xmas, Christmas. No, I'm not. I don't see how. That's not a good answer. They might fix it, but I guess the better question is, do you trust that it's fixed? That's where I am at. They fixed it with the hinge on the Flip 1. Now we have the Flip 2 having the same problem. And if they fix it, then great. But can you confirm that? Are you going to be mad if in a year from now your hinge breaks and you're like, well, it's out of warranty. What do I do? You know what I mean? Like it's, and this is tough for me as somebody who doesn't like the Flip 2 to be like, well, is that Flip 2 worth your money to take that risk? My answer is no, because I don't like the Flip 2. Just buy an Ode 2 Portal. But yeah, no, I personally don't trust them to fix it and not any fault of their own. How could you trust them at this point? You know what I mean? Like it's been twice now going through this. So how could you trust? Where does that trust come from, I guess? Ioneo's coming out with the Flip or Pocket DS. Maybe that's an option for you. That looks pretty cool. I'm actually interested in that. I'm willing to bet, maybe wait a few weeks, maybe AYN is doing a Flip. It's going to be something new in the next few weeks. Other than that, maybe just wait. I mean, that's the one thing in this hobby, right? Like, you don't have to settle for a device that has problems. You can wait a month, 2 months, 3 months. You'll get another device that is better. And that's kind of how we're at in this hobby. That's why it's always weird when people settle for devices like the RG Slide or the RG477M and even the Flip 2. Like you don't have to settle for these devices. We get so many of them. Just wait a little bit longer and you'll get your perfect device. Or just buy an Ode 2 Portal because it's already perfect anyways. That's everything for this week. Make sure that you like and sub to help the channel grow. Come join me on the Discord to play some games and just have some fun. Support me through YouTube membership because it helps me and you get to see videos earlier. Otherwise, appreciate you all for watching, and that's all for me. Cockermouth, England.